I'm currently in a very nostalgic mood, and I decided to watch the first episode of Barney for two reasons. One, I grew up worshipping Barney, and the second is that I actually didn't know what the first episode was. While I remember Barney, I couldn't remember any specific episodes, and I have to say, I'm really impressed with how much they pack into what is actually an almost half an hour episode. In my mind, Barney was like 5–10 minutes long, so I was quite impressed with the length of them. So there will be spoilers in this discussion because I'm just going to go through the episode bit by bit and give my thoughts on the various things that happen. So there absolutely will be spoilers here. The first episode is called The Queen of Make Believe. This was released on the 6th of April 1992, so I was just over 1 month old. I actually thought it was older than that. And the children in this episode are Min, Shawn, Michael, and Tina. And it starts off with Min pretending to be a queen, and she magics Barney to life. And I love that it straight away gets into the magic of imagination and the power of make-believe, which of course is what Barney is all about, but this is definitely really heightened in this first episode. And Min turns Barney into King Barney, and that leads them to sing Old King Cole, which is a great song. It's a song that I loved from my childhood. I didn't realise there were quite so many verses, but I rather enjoyed it. They did repeat the song, which I thought was maybe a little bit unnecessary. Not so much that I feel like children would get bored with it, but I assume this was released on VHS where children would watch it over and over again and again. So I don't feel like it was necessary, but it's not terrible. And then they begin to cloud watch and use their imagination to see different shapes in the clouds. Definitely something that children watching can then try at home. I think most of us at some point have tried to see shapes in clouds. So that's great, something children can replicate. And then they sing Lemon Drops and Gumdrops. And the rush of nostalgia I felt with this song was just incredible. I absolutely love it. Again, didn't know there were so many verses to it. It starts to rain, so they go inside and they have a little tea party. Another great thing that a lot of children will be able to do at home. A lot of children have make-believe tea sets and, well, plastic tea sets. And if they don't, they can make-believe tea sets. So it's great that it's giving children lots of ideas for things they can do at home on their own. And then a lot of the episode is taken up with the building of a robot. And I feel like this segment maybe ran slightly longer than I would have expected, than I think I would have liked, because it's definitely one of the harder aspects to replicate for children. I mean, a lot of children will, of course, have bits and pieces around the house with which they can make a robot, but not necessarily. And you kind of can't use your imagination to make a robot if you haven't got anything you can use it anyway. So I feel like it ran a bit too long, but generally it was certainly very creative. And it introduced the Barney bag, which I'd completely forgotten about. I had until that point no recollection of it. There's a great poem and a great performance by one of the children about a piece of string, and how this piece of string with your imagination can become so many different things. And it's about using your imagination not just to make something out of nothing, but to turn something into something else, which I think is a really great thing to kind of suggest, and can help with the building of a robot. There's also a great a parade, an animal parade, which was kind of brief, but I really enjoyed it. And then they're back outdoors and they're turning the playground apparatus into a spaceship, a rocket ship, so they can go out of space, which again I think is something a lot of children do at some point anyway. So that's definitely something that they can do, in the park, or if they're fortunate enough to have their own equipment in the garden. And it ends, of course, on the I Love You song. And at that point I got really emotional and started tearing up quite a lot, because that song means a lot to me from my childhood. So it was definitely a very interesting experience. What I like about this is the children have varying degrees of talent. It doesn't just feel like they've gone to this, I mean, they might have done, but it doesn't feel like they've gone to this top drama school and plucked out the best children and everything's streamlined and seamless and synchronized. I feel some of the children have more experience or talent than others, but that makes it feel realistic. I will say the children are older than I'd expected. Not in a bad way, but just older than I remember them being. But particularly Jessica Zucha, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, she gave a brilliant performance. She played Tina, and I thought she was incredibly talented and an absolute joy to watch. The nostalgia is so beautiful. I'm really impressed with how much they pack into an episode. In my memory, it wasn't that detailed. So that's really something I appreciate. It doesn't surprise me that Barney ran for as long as it does. I don't know if they're still making Barney. According to Wikipedia, Barney and Friends ended in 2010 after quite an impressive run. I'm not sure if there are any other Barney shows. Maybe there are. Feel free to let me know. But certainly, it's very impressive, and the nostalgia is absolutely beautiful.